Hi everyone, welcome to the first video on my channel. My name is Abigail Rothenberger and today I'm going to share with you the theme of my entire channel. Of course I want to talk about politics, but I also want to talk about how you can force yourself to think rationally about the information that I give you and all the information that you receive on a daily basis. Some things that appear on the news today seem completely irrational and people actually believe it. Today I'm going to talk about some of the things that I think if people used half of their brain would be clearly totally bonkers. First, I want to pose a question. Donald Trump keeps claiming that most news stations are fake news, and many of his followers actually believe that, 90% of news is a lie. I've heard a member of my own family tell me that because I watch CNN and MSNBC and news stations like that, that I'm less intelligent than everyone else because I've been misinformed. He literally has said to me, you gotta watch Fox News. That's the only way you'll ever get it, because apparently Fox News is the only people that know what they're actually talking about. I want to know how that can be true though. Mathematically, probability-wise, it's not. How is it that dozens of other news stations can report the same thing and all be incorrect, and Fox News is the only person, like the only news station, reporting something different, and they're somehow the only one that's right? I don't think that's probable. It might be possible. It's probably possible, but I don't think it's very likely. Let's use the Green New Deal as an example. For those of you who don't know, the Green New Deal is a proposal to solve the climate change crisis while also attacking issues in our economy. It was introduced by a woman named Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who, before she was elected to Congress, was, a waitress in a taco shop. She's a very cool lady. If you ever want to check her out, I can link a couple of videos of her in the description, but she's so cool. Many news sources, summarize the proposal in an unbiased manner. And a lot of the articles go on to state their opinions about those facts, but mainly they focus on the facts, what is actually in the Green New Deal. The New York Times has articles that summarize it. There's one that tries to correct all the inaccuracies that some of the Republicans have spouted all this time about it. Some praise the Green New Deal and they, call it realistic and basically just state that it's a grand plan. CNN talks about how badly climate change is already affecting us and how it's so much worse than we originally thought. And there's another article that says the Green New Deal is what the founding fathers wanted. CBS has articles that give a lot of the details about the Green New Deal that most people don't even bother talking about. Fox News, though, takes a much different approach. Fox chooses to attack it by attacking AOC and her mom. They bring in a lot of public figures that don't like the Green New Deal to talk about how much it's gonna ruin our country. They bring in Ted Cruz and Howard Schultz, who, a lot of people would assume know what they're talking about, even if they don't. They also chose to report that Democrats are running from their own proposal, which doesn't even make any sense because that's not even true. How is it that several other news sources can, praise the Green New Deal and talk about it in an unbiased way and just praise it and say that it's a grand old idea, while Fox is the only source that has slammed it? How? I don't get it. Mathematically, it's not very probable that many news sources are all wrong when they're reporting the same thing. I think that anybody who is actually thinking rationally would, come to that kind of realization. Next, I want to question Donald Trump's innocence. I know that the Mueller report just came out, and many people are satisfied with the idea that, there's no evidence to suggest that Donald Trump had colluded with Russia in any way, but there were several other things being investigated in that. And I just want to ask, how is it possible that everyone around Donald Trump has either been indicted or pled guilty to a crime, And he has not done a single illegal thing himself. People actually think that. Don't know why. There's a whole list of 37 people that have been indicted or pled guilty to some kind of crime. First, there's George Papadopoulos, who formerly was the foreign policy advisor for Donald Trump's campaign. He had interactions with a professor who had connections to the Russian government, and he lied about it to the FBI, which is a crime, and he pled guilty. Paul Manafort is a former Trump campaign chair, and he was convicted of 25 counts related to his work for Ukrainian politicians and finances. The list goes on to Michael Flynn, different Russian nationals and businesses, Richard Pinedo, Alex van der Zwaan. So many people, there's a list of 37 of them who all have some kind of crime under their name. Either they pled guilty to it or they were indicted. Some of them, got plea deals or whatever, but they still were actively convicted. So I don't understand how all of these people who worked for Donald Trump and were very close to Donald Trump can be indicted for all kinds of crimes and, plead guilty to all kinds of crimes, admitting that they did it. How is it possible that Donald Trump himself, who employed all these people, is completely innocent? I don't think it's very probable. Also, 31 out of the total 37 entities that have committed these crimes and been indicted or pled guilty to these crimes have some kind of connection to Russia. How likely is it that Donald Trump himself had no connection to Russia when all of these people who were indicted did? I know that the Mueller report said that there's no evidence to suggest any kind of collusion with Russia, but just because there's no evidence right now doesn't mean it didn't happen. I think a lot of what happened with the Mueller report is, I think he gave up. I think that, he's been investigating this for 2 years. I think he finally concluded that it's not worth it. It's not worth going another year and a half until Donald Trump is elected out of office trying to figure this out. So I think he just gave up. How likely is it that when all of these people, 31 out of 37, have been indicted or pled guilty to crimes relating to Russia, how likely is it that Donald Trump, who has employed these people, is not guilty of a crime related to Russia? I think that if anybody did their research, listen to more than just one news source, more than just one person, I think that a lot of people would make the same kind of realizations that I make. They would see that their own thought process can be debunked in a quick 10 minutes. So we'll cover a lot of these stories in the future so that we can keep the truth in the forefront of your mind. This has been The Rationale, and I'll see you next time.